Edith Helen Papert is a plastic as well as a literary artist, a novelist as well as a poet. She is amusing as well as serious, as her encouragement that we all petition to save the Juke in Arc 18 suggests. I hope you all signed.
I have been published in Hebrew, and I'd like to read two excerpts from it. The first one has been published also in the Melbourne Chronicle. It's chapter 2. In the goat-side village of Shavlan, Lithuania, following his bar mitzvah, my father-to-be, Monis, Mo, founded the Flowers of a Zion Club, consisting of 3 blossoms, his brother Hanoch, their best friend Edaleh, and himself. My future mother in the East End of London, then a schoolgirl of 10, kept a scrapbook with news items on Theodore Herzl. Hades' comet to these blister-hot Zionists was God's finger, pointing from the diaspora to Palestine, the Jewish homeland. Years passed, and God's finger blurred. Mo, drafted by the Russian army, sneaked across the border, followed by his parents and brothers, and defected to Cape Town. A few years later, Becky hid behind a heavy damask curtain in the living room of her London home and peeked at her intended, a brilliant Hasidic rabbinical scholar, red-bearded, side-curled, fat and short, who was standing by the window in the fading light, examining her photo with approval. His parents, who were seated at the table with her parents and the matchmaker, had already found her dowry acceptable. The conditions of the marriage contract were now being discussed, and it was agreed that Rebecca would be living with her in-laws and that it would be her honorable duty to support her erudite husband and herself while he continued to delve into the intricate mysteries of the Kabbalah. Becky decided to disappear. She sneaked back into her room and knifed her savings out of her mattress. By the end of the week, she had booked a passage on a boat sailing for South Africa, and a fortnight later unloaded her belongings, including the Theodore Herzl scrapbook, in a furnished room in Cape Town. She had seen the Cape of Good Hope. After several months, a mutual friend introduced my future parents, and they were soon sharing Zionist dreams. However, God's finger was quite out of focus by this time, and the pioneering Becky took her sparkling new husband back to England. There, Mo, a bass baritone, auditioned for Covent Garden and was accepted about a year later, after they had reached the shores of the USA and had settled in an apartment across the street from the Bronx Zoo. Count 9 months back, and it was July when my future parents steamed, I gleamed, and Mo rushed to do double time as a negative retoucher. Slowly the dollars piled into a feathered crib for me. One windy March midnight, Mo didn't come home, and the big-bellied Becky almost missed my carriage. She went outside to search for her breadwinner and met a newly minted cop. "Lady, who are you looking for?" "My husband, have you seen him?" "Yeah, get into the patrol wagon and I'll take you to the morgue. I think he's dead." At the morgue, the good officer wheeled a refrigerated, bloated corpse toward her, and Becky stared with a pounding heart at the high blue nose and blonde crew cut. "Poor old Dad," murmured the kindly cop. "Got another one younger than this, come in half hour ago, bashed by a train. Want to take a look?" Becky declined. "Hey, what's the matter? Want a cup of coffee?" I'm glad I wasn't born in the morgue. Mo came home 1 in the morning and found his pregnant wife missing. He checked all the hospitals, eventually approached a policeman. She's in the morgue. Get into the patrol wagon. And here's the illustration for it. By dawn's early light, my future parents were reunited. Mo climbed over several containers and took the shivering Becky into his arms. The extra work stopped, but the pioneering dreams continued. My parents decided that soon after the baby was born, Becky would strap him to her back, Indian style. Mo would schlep the suitcases, and all of us would go to the chosen land to cultivate the soil. Strontium in the bones. No more.
Thank you.
I already in advance cut off the end of my story, and I'm very glad to hand it over to you because we're all enjoying it. So.
You want to read it?
Okay. Thank you.
Some will do it for me sometimes.
In 1962, Nikita Khrushchev upset my mother. She feared that one doomed night, trapped in our beds in our four-family Brooklyn bungalow, we would awaken briefly and then suffocatingly disintegrate in the yellowish smoke of Russia's next hydrogen bomb experiment. It's God's finger pointing, said Madre, pulling out a suitcase. We're going to Israel. What about the Arabs, I said. Isn't Australia safer? God will protect us. What's the matter? You don't want to go to Israel? A nice Jewish girl? You prefer to get strontium in your bones. And pass it on, God forbid, to my grandchildren, if you survive. Actually, I felt excited. I had never been further than Maine. February of 1962 had been atrocious. My nose had dribbled constantly, and I felt like a grizzly in my heavy mouton and bulky fur-lined boots. In the middle of March, Madre visited the Jewish agency on Park Avenue. She came back ecstatic. The director had told her that immigrants were permitted to import a certain amount of household equipment free of charge. According to her calculation, this meant all of our furniture and more. Besides, there had been a devaluation, which meant that my parents' pension would be 3 times fatter in Israel. Madre told everyone we were leaving. Oh my, Mrs. Jorgensen, our neighbor who lived in the apartment above ours, clucked sympathetically. You folks are so brave. May the good Lord protect you. Mrs. Mandelbrot, our other neighbor, added her concerned chirp. Perhaps you won't like it there. Leave your furniture here until you're certain. Mr. Profundos, who lived across the hall, didn't want to discourage us, but they don't even have toilet paper in Israel, he said, watching his lip. That afternoon, Madre and I went shopping. She picked out an enormous collapsible suitcase and piled it stiff with toilet paper, soap, toothpaste, camera bags, and disinfectant. I took one end as a floated corpse, and Madre the other end, and we lugged it home. But Madre, said Dickie, Mr. Profundus only mentioned toilet paper. God knows what else is lacking. But I'm sure with their fine Jewish brains, they'll catch on quick. I wonder what people would pile to in Israel, Dickie mused. Madre's Uncle Sam and Aunt Sophie praised us for an idealism, but warned us about the lack of toilet paper in Israel. Madre went shopping again and tried to squeeze the extra load of articles and the broom into the suitcases. Dickie, they won't close. Sit on the suitcases firmly, but cautiously, so they won't break. I said goodbye to my employer and all my friends. "You're very brave," they said admiringly. "Watch out for malaria. The girls go to war there." Stuck up on toilet paper. In the beginning of May, some laborers came to break the furniture. Madre insisted that everything be included. Fixtures, mop, garbage pail, even the broom, which was too long for the suitcases, the hammer and nails, went into a shopping bag. People we hardly knew came to wish us good luck. On the morning of June the 15th, 1962, 3 God-fearing explorers set out on their perilous journey. Mr. Profundus kissed and hugged Dickie. "You're a good man for a Jew, and we're sure going to miss you." Illustration. Yeah. Mrs. Rachel Mandel removed the chain with a gold star and clasped it around Audrey's neck. "Goodbye, you sweet darling," she sniffled. I climbed into the taxi and watched the misty Ocean Parkway train race by. "Goodbye, America Vespucci. Goodbye, Green Lady Ma. Goodbye, my cradle of steel. Mr. Khrushchev, how could you? This was far worse than standing, thrashing his way through a mosquito-nibbling jungle. Admiral Peary, slipping and sliding on a Titanic iceberg cat."
Shulamit Kabachalevi writes in Hebrew and English and translates from Spanish. Her book of Hebrew poetry is translated from Spanish. Her English poems are